Gang, slightly different video today, but if you like it and the YouTube algorithm likes it, I'm just going to run with it. I'm going to speak to you today about one of my clients, Brad, and more specifically, how you can replicate what he did in 13 weeks, which is gain 30 clients with a follower count of sub 5K. Now, one of the biggest things that I see, one of the biggest limiting beliefs that I see is you need an absolutely gigantic following to grow an online coaching business, and my thing is no, you don't. If you can learn to sell to the people in front of you, you will grow a really substantial business like Brad has right here. Okay, we won't necessarily get into revenue markers and stuff like that. I kind of don't necessarily like airing someone's revenue out on social media. I think it's a bit weird. I would hate if a mentor posted my revenue on social media. Bit odd. In terms of what we actually did with Brad, and in terms of how you can replicate it yourself, is one, Brad's a really fucking great coach, like an awesome coach. He just had really mixed messaging, and that's not when we say messaging, it's not necessarily like DMing. It's like, what does he stand for? What is his offer? Like, what does he actually sell? What is that thing? Okay, and it was really unclear when I started working with Brad. It was really unclear what his offer and what his messaging actually looked like. So what we did is we basically just sharpened that all up. So at the start, he was on 34 clients. He was still gaining quite a few people in here. But number one, his messaging was just off, which meant that his close rate was a little bit off. Okay. And it also meant that people weren't necessarily coming to him hot, okay? They were kind of messaging him saying can I have some more information on what you do versus I know what you do, I need it right now, okay? And we have basically got him to a position where he basically, people just come to him and just sign up. So here, for example, in week 10, he basically had 6 people turn up and 4 people close, right? So his close rate automatically increased, which is basically a byproduct of just nailing messaging, okay? So what does he actually do? How does he actually work? And we absolutely solidified that, okay? And we'll continue to do so going forward, okay? Now, we also elevated authority. So when Brad was posting, it was kind of like he was an educator in the space versus an online coach who can basically help someone. So what we did is we basically elevated tone and we elevated pitch. So we enabled Brad to be seen as an online coach versus just a person who posts on social media or just posts education, right? We see this a lot with bodybuilding coaches is they just want to educate everyone, and they want to almost flex on the knowledge that they have, which is great, but it doesn't always see client numbers increase, okay? Which is basically what we wanted to reverse engineer with him, okay? So we elevated authority, we established him as an online coach, and again, you see here, his following didn't really go up in the 13 weeks, and it won't. The way that we tend to post is not we don't necessarily care for you going viral. We care for your sales aspect. So in the 13 weeks that we've been working together, he's realistically only gained 200 followers, which is cool, really. A lot of mentorship spaces, they'll look for trying to drive as much traffic to the page, but in my opinion, it's kind of one of the last things that we do, because if you can learn how to sell to the people in front of you and then run paid traffic, every single ad metric you can ever think of will be down, okay? Cost per acquisition, cost per lead, everything, okay? So it actually costs you less to get more clients in, which is fundamentally how I prefer to run ads. I don't just try and spray and pray and hope for the best, okay? I'd much rather you spend £100 and get fucking 10 grand back versus spending 9 grand to get 10 grand back, okay? So the other thing that we kind of introduced is that bodybuilding coaches don't necessarily calling to act for their coaching service. They find it a bit sleazy, a bit salesy. So what we did is we basically found a path for Brad. We basically found a position that allowed Brad to CTA on his page without being a sleazy snake oil salesman, right? So we basically enabled him to stay really organic with everything. There's no I'm looking for 5 people. There's no really big offers going on. It's just really organic CTA structures alongside implementing elevated pitch, elevated authority, and nailed messaging, okay? And then last of all, which is the thing that you can't replicate, so you can replicate 3, is well, you can replicate. You could obviously invest in TCT. There is a link in the description if you do want to apply for mentoring. But we basically pulled in the B-Lab method, which is essentially like we gave him a clear instruction. We gave him a clear manual on exactly what to do and how to post and what to post and when to post. Okay, we built all of that for him, which then enabled. Good pitch. It then enabled him to just do his work and do his job. Okay, so like online fitness coaches, one of the biggest things that they kind of get wrong is they don't see themselves as a business owner. They just see themselves as an online coach. Now we kind of take like the business ownership away, and we kind of like just get you to do these things. So we're like, hey, can you go and do this task, this task, this task? You go away, and then you improve your business whilst you put a lot of energy into actual formal coaching. That's kind of how the B-Lab method works, is that we take care of the heavy lifting. Of course, we give you a plan of action, you have to go and do it, but we take a lot of the heavy lifting away, so then we give you a plan of action, and then you just go and do it, it works, and then you come back to us with more clients. That's basically how we work. Now, if you want to apply for mentoring, if you want the B-Lab method introduced into your business, then again, there is a type form below, just fill it out. You can gain 30 clients in 13 weeks, much like Brad did. You have to work as hard as Brad, though. Brad is a very fucking hard worker. Basically, if you think that, like, shit, I need a large following, I need a massive following, I don't get 2 inquiries a month, let alone 2 inquiries a week, then you can, like, these are all kind of like limiting beliefs, right? I think that, like, a lot of people have this thing in their head that, like, their current situation is non-changeable. Their current situation is their never-ending fucking life, right? But you can change this at a flick of a switch, okay? And in your instance, again, there's a CTA button right fucking below this video, right? Which you could basically fill out a short form, apply for mentoring, pull all of the systems that I've just basically introduced to you in here, pull it into your business, and then away you go. Your life looks completely different in 13 to 16 weeks, okay? So, yeah.